Alright, thanks for tuning in to a special leading forecast here on Tropical Storm Debby. Let's go on over to it, and you can see this is the graphic from the National Hurricane Center here, and this is showing, this is the current position of Tropical Storm Debby here, where the X is now 26.3 north, 87.5 west. We do have max sustained winds of 50 miles per hour, and Tropical Storm Debby is stationary at this moment. This is the cone, the forecast cone here, and you can see taking it potentially up northward towards Morgan City, Louisiana, and then possibly as far south into northern Mexico. So anywhere in the U.S. between Brownsville and Morgan City, Louisiana. Right now that's the projected path. But there's a lot of different variables that are going to go into this that could change that path and almost completely flip it, I think. We'll just have to wait and see. But this is the forecast strength here by 7 p.m. on Monday. You can see we're still at a tropical storm, but the time we hit Tuesday at 7 p.m., the National Hurricane Center, where that H is right there, forecasting a hurricane by 7 p.m. Tuesday, and continues as a hurricane all the way through 7 p.m. Thursday. Now this is probably going to change. There's going to be a lot of different things that go on. We do have a tropical storm watch in effect now from pretty much the Mississippi-Louisiana line all the way to Morgan City, Louisiana. In fact, I'll show you that in just a second. This is the deepening convection. This is the infrared satellite that's going on to the east and to the south of the center of circulation down here. And in fact, the center of circulation is down here just south of Mobile, Alabama. And all this deepening convection is something we're going to continue to see over the next several days as Debby does probably transform into a hurricane, I think, at some point. I know a lot of people saying it won't make it, and there's a chance that it won't, but I think at this point there's a very likely chance that it will make it to that, at least briefly. There's those watches and warnings. In fact, there's that tropical storm warning pretty much from the Louisiana, Mississippi coast all the way to Morgan City, Louisiana. And of course you're going to want to watch all along this coast, and I say along that coast, from pretty much Tampa to Brownsville, all along the Gulf Coast. You're going to want to watch this system because it could flip-flop, and we'll be talking about a totally different track potentially if this trough picks it up, which we'll discuss in a second. Here's the model spread, and you can see these models are bringing anywhere from Tampa all the way up to Pensacola, Panama City, all the way over towards central Louisiana, Brownsville, and even up, I think, towards the Houston and Corpus Christi area. And so these models are hugely spread. There's just a very large area where they're saying they could impact. Talking about strength of the potential strength of Debby, and you can see this is the current water vapor imagery, and you can see all these bright greens is that convection that's going up around the on the east, or on the east and south side of the center of circulation, and really starting to feed some moisture into Debby here. But the thing we're watching is this dry air. There's a big high pressure center out here, and this dry air, if that starts to work in to the hurricane or the tropical storm, that's really going to hinder development, at least for a little while, until that works out and we start to get moist air surrounding it again. So we'll just have to wait and see how this dry air affects it, and if it gets all the way down in there, we'll just have to wait and see. I think we're already starting to see some stream into the Gulf. So, you know, it's going to be very interesting how all this plays out with the kind of severe, or with the kind of weather setup we have. This is the model strength. This is the storm strength. Most of these predicting tropical storms, but there are a couple up in here that are predicting Category 1 and Category 2 hurricanes. So we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. Like I said, I think at some point it will reach hurricane strength. Now, whether or not it'll stay there and hit and make landfall as a hurricane, that's probably going to be a different story. We'll just have to wait and see. Here's the factors. This is actually right now. There's Debby down there, that red area, and then we have this big high pressure system. That's what we were talking about. And this is Debby is essentially a big low pressure center. And so what happens here is these low pressure centers will ride around the ridge of high pressure. And right now, kind of that ridge is building in kind of down through this area. But watch as we get into Monday, early morning, this huge ridge of high pressure now building all the way down here. And Debby's down here and just riding that southerly ridge. And that moves it right into Brownsville. But the big thing we have to watch, too, is these can also get caught up in the trough, which this is the trough, this big dip right in here. if this ridge is farther south or something like that, or even farther east, it may move it farther east and it would get caught up in this trough. In fact, that's what the GFS solution is that this trough digs down and this kind of comes farther south and keeps this from moving really westward and moves it more north, and then eventually gets it kind of caught up like this and moves up into this trough and comes through Jacksonville and off the East Coast. And there's a million different variabilities out there, it seems like, with all these models. But a lot of the major models that I would look at for hurricanes do trend it more north and then eventually westward. So anyways, the projected path of what it is right now, and there it is, could totally flip-flop. You might end up seeing, who knows, a projected path of something more like this. It's hard to say. But hopefully over the next 24 to 36 hours, we'll start to see what happens. We'll get this ironed out and really kind of put down a good forecast track for this. So anyways, that's all I have for now. If you're from Tampa to Brownsville, the entire Gulf Coast, stay weather aware this weekend and watch what Debbie does, because it could be a very interesting system or storm as we get into mid to late next week. Anyway, that's all I have. Have a great weekend. Until next time, I'm Joseph Cooper.